Hello guys, I'm Shubham and I welcome you to my channel and I hope you're doing fantastic. Now let's get to the point and I want you to imagine a situation where you have a night shift for your job and you met one very interesting person. Yes guys, it seems very exciting if you're thinking about further possibilities. Well, today's story is basically dealing with the same romanticism with lot of surprises in it. So, without wasting any further time, let's begin the story, which is named The Night Clerk, which was released in 2020 and directed by Michael Christopher. This is actually a crime story with different kind of romanticism in it, and it is very interesting to watch even though this movie has mixed reviews. So the story begins with a guy whose name was Bart and he was a victim of Asperger's syndrome. He also happens to be a voyeur. Voyeurism simply means a perversion in which a people receives sexual gratification by witnessing others' intimate behavior. That was the reason why he had set up cameras in several rooms of a hotel where he was working as a night clerk. He was so fond of observing other people that he did not even let his mother go free from his observations. People who do things in a very normal way, for doing those things, Bart had to take an extra effort. Things as simple as eating the breakfast, Bart had to observe how people do it. This is why his mother consistently was putting an extra layer of care. Having normal conversations with people around him seemed to be complicated and non-understanding for Bart, even though his dedication of becoming normal was pretty confirmed. One night when Bart was working in the hotel, one lady checks in and his usual habit of observing people led Bart think that she was here meeting someone. So he suggests a special room 124 where Bart had already installed cameras to observe her. The lady goes into her room 124 and changes to her comfy clothes. Bart was observing her from different viewpoints, and while observing that lady, Bart sees that there was a man visiting her in the same room. Bart was much immersed in observing her and he didn't notice a colleague who was about to take over his shift and catches Bart observing that lady. But he just had a glimpse of it, so he doesn't understand what exactly Bart was doing. After that, Bart went out and on a way he stops for an ice cream. While eating ice cream, he was again observing that woman. That lady and man were fighting about something, and in just a moment after, that man starts hitting that woman very badly, and Bart was seeing all of this through the camera. He tried to call in the hotel, but because he had set the cameras in the room, he didn't want to get caught. So he drives to the hotel by himself. His colleague comes out for a cigarette and he sees Bart's car and he assumes that Bart has still not left. That's why he comes to check Bart and he finds him in a room 124 where that woman was lying dead. His colleague tells him not to touch anything and he went out to call 911. Meanwhile, Bart was taking every trace of his recording away from this room just to keep him from getting caught. But during that, he mistakenly drops one memory card in the room. We will get to see what exact role this memory card plays in the further scenes. Obviously, police get involved and we see Detective Espada interrogating hotel owner about Bart. Hotel owner says Bart was very smart and capable of what he was doing. Then Espada turns to Bart and guys, as per his usual habit, Bart says lot of words and uses long sentences and detective gets answer to all of the questions without even asking them. Bart says he come back because he had left his wallet in hotel near the vending machine, which was the only lie he told detective. But detective posed a question, if Bart had left his wallet in the hotel room, then how did he pay for the ice cream? Bart wasn't able to answer this question and detective takes him to the police station. In the police station, we see Nick, who was husband of that lady who was murdered. On the other hand, Bart's mother, Ethel, takes him out of the police station and warns detective about interrogating him. She says Bart is a fragile boy and detective was supposed to understand and respect that. When Bart comes home, he couldn't keep himself from watching the tape again in which that lady was killed. While watching the tape, we came to understand that the murderer man has a tattoo of a bird on his right hand. That could be his secret identity. In light of recent events, his boss shifted Bart to another location, keeping his work responsibilities along with his timings same. One night when Bart was on the shift, one very beautiful girl comes in the hotel to check in and her name was Andrea Rivera. After usual protocol and casual conversation, Andrea goes to her room. Now Bart opens the recorded meeting with Andrea and he relived the moment again and again because he felt special about Andrea. One day, Bart was going out and he met Andrea in shopping mall where he found out about her dead brother whose condition was same as that of Bart. Bart thinks that was the reason why Andrea was felt so connected to Bart and after that he went home. After getting home, Bart was listening to the recordings as per his habit and he comes to find out that there was one memory card missing. Now if you guys remember, he had mistakenly dropped one memory card in the hotel room itself where that lady was killed. Detective Espada finds that memory card and shows it to Nick. He didn't know there was camera in that room, but he seemed surprised. After that, detective interrogates Bart's colleague and he mentions that he was looking at a video feed which looked like one of their hotel rooms. Now detective gets a serious doubt of Bart. One night when Bart was working on his shift in the hotel, he sees Andrea was with someone and she was kissing the guy in that car. Bart was watching this and he was kind of surprised by seeing what he saw. Andrea kissed that guy goodbye and she came in where Bart was sitting. Andrea felt very tired and even upset about something. It seemed like the relationship that she was in wasn't exactly what she was looking for. One day when Andrea was relaxing in the swimming pool, Bart came there and they had kind of intimate chat, and that's why Bart felt a sensual feeling about Andrea, which was called love. After that night, Bart expends a lot of his money into grooming himself. He bought clothes, he styled his hairs, and he also bought a car just to impress Andrea. He was so innocent that he actually believed that something can happen between him and Andrea. But still, he went to meet Andrea and he saw something which he was definitely not hoping for. He saw Andrea with somebody else, and the man she was with had the same tattoo of the bird on his right arm, which suggests that Andrea was having an affair with a murderer. Bart felt broken from inside. He came home and finds that Detective Espada was actually searching his house, and he found Bart's setup of computers where he was observing people from the hotel. Detective also had a search warrant, so Ethel couldn't do anything to stop him from searching. Detective again interrogates Bart, but Bart was so determined not to reveal his secret that he had seen the murder. Because of the fierce interrogation from Detective, Bart was feeling upset and sad. His mom came to him and tried to encourage him, and she tried to make him understand that life is not as simple as we think it is, but we have to rise above the situation and make the most of our lives. This scene was actually very touching because it was explaining how a mother can be worried all the time about her children. In the very next scene, we see Nick in a car with Andrea. Now this is very big revelation because here we come to find out about lot of things, like Andrea was having an affair with a murderer and she knew that. Andrea was also using Bart to get the evidence that he had which could expose the murderer, and very importantly we come to find out that murderer was none other than Nick himself, who was also the husband of that lady, and it seems Nick and Andrea have made a plan. Next we can see Andrea was visiting Bart and saying sorry about everything that she had put him through, and now she won't be responsible for his pain anymore because she was leaving. Bart was feeling kind of sad and he already was missing her. He again started watching Andrea, and there we could see she was packing her bags, so she must be going, and she wasn't lying about that. But Bart heard a doorknob and felt that somebody was visiting Andrea, and he got curious. It was none other than Nick himself. Nick sees Andrea leaving and he attempts to stop her from going, but Andrea was not listening to him, and that's when Nick and Andrea starts to fight. Bart was watching all of these things and he remembers the night when that lady was killed. Bart was scared because he thought Nick could kill Andrea as well, just like he killed his wife. He got into his car and came directly to Andrea, where he was also attacked by Nick. But Bart was screaming weirdly, and that's why Nick thought of leaving the place and he left. Because of fear of Nick, Andrea had locked herself into the bathroom to be safe. Bart knocks on the door and Andrea comes out and she was badly hurt and was bleeding. But she was thinking how Bart could possibly know where she was and what condition she was in. So Bart ends up revealing his secret that he was observing her, and that's why he came to save her. He shows every tape and every evidence Bart had against Nick to Andrea to make her realize that she was in an affair with a murderer. Andrea was feeling fearful and frustrated and everything in between. She wanted to relax herself and she chooses to lie down on the bed, and Bart joins her and they go to sleep. Only in the morning, when Bart was awake, he finds each and every trace of evidence which he had against Nick was long gone along with Andrea. Andrea had handed everything to Nick. Here we come to find out that Andrea and Nick was in this together, and Andrea was taking an advantage of Bart only to get the evidence. When Bart had these realizations, he was really upset and angry on Andrea. And in this frustration, he hands all memory card recordings of that night to Detective Espada and reveals what exactly had happened. Bart also explained why he did not give this information earlier, as Bart was observing people in the room, which was a clear violation of their privacy, and he wanted to hide that. But if he had kept this information hidden any longer, then a killer would go free, and that's why Bart takes that chance. Soon, Detective catches Andrea and Nick together, and movie ends here. So this was the story of the Night Clerk, and I hope you like it. And I recommend you to watch the movie as well because you will enjoy it. Tell me how do you like this explanation as well in the comment section, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.